set the stage for our last Sunday of our theme for this month. And the theme has been, let us help you do life. And that is an invitation to let us help you do life, lowercase l, meaning this human life, with more peace and more joy, more love, more connection, more flow, more abundance, more courage, more grace. Let us help you do life, lowercase l, by connecting with life, uppercase L, the source and substance of all supply. Life, capital L, the infinite wisdom and intelligence that lives at the heart of all things. Capital L, life, that creative force that is what drives all and creates everything. Capital L, life, the life that is God. So our invitation this month is, let us help you do lowercase life by giving you some tools and spiritual practices and ideas and thoughts to connect more fully with life, capital L. And we're using, to help us do that, this great book that Lonnie is going to do a book study on called The Secrets of the, we just roped him in today, Secrets of the Lost Mode of Prayer by Greg Braden. And we thought it would be appropriate to use this book in just as a nod to Greg's visit to CLF in a momentous occasion a couple of weeks ago, an absolutely milestone event here for CLF as we had 210 tickets sold from within and beyond this community and had this world-renowned author here. It was truly an awe-inspiring and amazing event. And I thought it would be fun just to kind of, not fun, but deep and beautiful and fun to carry that energy of his work into the entire month. So that's what we've done, is taken these modes of prayer and looked at his ideas, and so far we've looked at 3. We've looked at secret 1, secret 2, secret 3 of the lost mode of prayer. Now, I normally go a certain way with this. And so for those of you who think like, I'm in a routine and I do it the same way, it's kind of a formula, we do this, this, and this. I'm going to mix it up today just to throw you off a little bit, okay? Because I don't want anyone ever to get complacent in here and think that's just the way it always goes. So I'm not going to go back and review the first 3 modes of prayer that we've explored so far this month like I normally do. We're going to save those. This is how we're going to do it. Today, we're going to look actually at modes 4 and 5. But the way we're going to do it is we're going to look at mode 4, have some conversation about it. Then we're going to back up and review 1, 2, 3, plug in 4, and then wrap it all up together in 5. Got that? Right? Makes sense? Even if it doesn't, it will, I promise. And it is all about helping us do life in a better way. And as a matter of fact, today's title is Doing Life in a New Way. And so it's when we bring all these 5 ideas together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that we can really show up in life in a new way. So that's the game plan for today. Sound good? Yes. All right, yay. Secret number 3, according to Greg Braden in the book, Secrets of the Lost Mode of Prayer. I want to introduce it with a quote, and it's a quote out of a book called Meditation, Insights and Inspirations. This is what the author Amit Ray says. And I want you to just see if in this you can catch, because I'm going to ask, can you catch what the secret is? All right, I think you guys are sharp. You're awake, am I correct? All right, you're sharp and you're awake, so I think you're going to catch it. Let's see if you do. God is the most beautiful, and beauty is the expression of God. If you can't appreciate beauty in the world, how can you possibly ever understand God? What do you suppose it is? Appreciation is good, not it. Try again. Beauty! Yes, 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 yes. Appreciating beauty, yes. God is the most beautiful. And beauty is the expression of God. If you can't appreciate beauty in the world, how can you possibly understand God? So we're going to be talking about the idea of beauty. And according to Greg Braden, the 4th secret, I think I said 3rd before, but the 4th sentence, I caught that, finally. Why didn't one of you tell me? The 4th secret of the lost mode, you usually catch me when I say things like that. The 4th secret of the lost mode of prayer is beauty is the transformer. Ooh, isn't that yummy? Beauty is the transformer. Transformer of what? Transformer of us internally to create a space in us so that we are open for that powerful prayer that we are going to be engaging in. So I know that every person's experience of beauty is unique. We all have our own perspective on what is beautiful and what isn't beautiful and where we see beauty and where we don't. And I want to give you two examples, kind of opposite extremes of beauty, all right, and seeing beauty. So are you ready for two examples, one of which definitely needs Dave to help me with? As he so nicely told me in first service that, yes, I really did need his help. So thank you, Dave, for that. And help me again, please. All right, you're there for me. I know you've got my back, baby, and I appreciate it so much. All right, so here's the first example of beauty. We see beauty how we see it. So it's a story of an Amish man and his son. And, you know, they've never been to the big city. They've never been to a shopping mall. They've lived their life on their farm and living in their ways of, you know, not non-modern ways. But for whatever reason, they needed to go to this mall, and so they did. And they're just in awe and a little bit overwhelmed of everything going on in this mall. And they're just standing there kind of trying to take it all in. And they notice that they're standing in front of these two shiny metal, well, it's like a wall, but there's a line down the middle of it, and then there's a couple buttons to the side, and they don't have any idea what this is. They have no idea what it is, but they're standing in front of it. And just as they're standing there, up next to them walks this very old, decrepit woman. She's got no hair. She's completely bald. She's wrinkled. Her face is just completely wrinkled. She's got no teeth. Just remember those three elements, okay? They're going to be important later. She's wrinkled, she's bald, she's got no teeth. And she pushes one of those buttons. And all of a sudden, magically, the doors open. And she walks into this tiny room. And the Amish man and his son are like, they have no idea what's going on. But then the doors close. And they wonder what in the world happened to the woman. But they notice above that there's a lighted number. And it's 1. And then it's 2. And then it says 3. And then it says 2. And then it says 1. And again, the doors open. And out walks this stunningly gorgeous 25-year-old. And the husband elbows his son and says, Adam, quick, go get your mother. You had a better appreciation for this than first service did. First service just groaned at me, but, you know, you guys, like, absolutely appreciated that ridiculous story. Thank you. And thank you, Dave. I still needed your help. All right. So that's kind of one side of beauty, you know, having our view of beauty, right? Here's the other one. And this is a true story. And it's one that Greg Braden told us when he was here at his workshop on the 14th of May. So those of you who are with us will remember this. We had an experience. He was showing some slides from he showed slides from many things, but one of them was from one of his treks to a Tibetan monastery, 16,000, if you can imagine, feet high on a mountaintop. This ancient, pristine, untouched by modern civilization monastery where they store sacred texts. There was a photograph of one of the rooms where these parchment paper, they weren't even books, they were just stacks of paper, like that high, of sacred writings. Anyway, he showed us, in addition to that, a photograph of 5 or 6 nuns who were on premises, who were nuns at this monastery. And beautiful, beautiful, light, smiling faces. These women were just all lights. You could see the light coming from all of them. But Greg said to us, out of these women on this picture, which one, if you were to say one of them had the most life, was the most beautiful, which one grabs you? Every single one of us, those of you who were there will remember, we all went, oh yeah, I know which one it is. It's that one in the bottom right. Yes, you're shaking. Those of you who were there, you're shaking your head, right? It was the woman on the bottom right. This woman was very old, wrinkled, bald, no teeth. What we saw in her, all of us, without a doubt, was exquisite beauty. The Amish man didn't see it in the woman standing next to him in the elevator, by the elevator. But we saw it in her. Exquisite beauty. There was a light coming out of her. It was absolutely palpable. We all felt it. The interesting thing is, Greg Braden said to us, so how old do you suppose she is? And there were guesses, 85, 90, 95. Someone even guessed 100. He said, nope, you're all wrong. You're all too low. She's 120 in this photograph. And every single day, this woman walks from, and he didn't say, if he said, I don't remember how far the walk is, but she walked from her home in the monastery, her room really, to the river to get her water and brought it back every single day. A 120-year-old woman who had an incredible brilliance and an incredible beauty coming out of her. Yes, beauty is unique to all of us, and it's our own perspective on what is beautiful. But I will tell you, when we see true beauty, right, we know it. And it touches us. It, in fact, transforms us. I think every one of us who looked at that face, we were uplifted and elevated and transformed. Greg Braden writes this. Recent discoveries in Western science now add, this is from Secrets of the Lost Mode of Prayer, recent discoveries in Western science now add to a growing body of evidence suggesting that beauty is a transformative power. More than simply an adjective that describes the colors of a sunset or a rainbow following a late summer storm, beauty is an experience. Specifically, beauty is our experience. Humans are believed to be the only species of life on Earth with the capability of perceiving beauty in the world around them and within the experiences of their lives. Through our experience of beauty, we're given the power to change the feelings we have in our bodies. Our feelings, in turn, are directly linked to the world beyond our bodies. The ancients believed that feeling, especially the form of feeling that we call prayer, is the single most powerful force in the universe. That's a big statement. The ancients believed that feeling, especially the form of feeling that we call prayer, is the single most powerful force in the universe. As we've discussed, feeling and prayer do, in fact, directly influence the physical matter of our world. So when we say that beauty has the power to change our lives, it is then no exaggeration to say that the same beauty also has the power to change our world. The key is that we must find a way to see beyond the hurt, suffering, and pain that the world is showing us and recognize the beauty that already exists in all things. Only then will we have unleashed the potential of prayer in our lives and its power in our lives. So again, the fourth secret of prayer is beauty is transformative. When we see beauty, when we experience beauty, we are transformed. So in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm going to invite you to share with me places where you experience beauty, all right? And the obvious ones, things that are obviously beautiful to you. I want to hear those. I want to hear what they are. But I also want you to be thinking, because I want to speak for a moment about finding beauty in those moments, in those things that maybe aren't on the surface beautiful. The elderly woman getting in the elevator was not immediately beautiful to the Amish man and his son, and yet we saw a woman, same physical description, who was exquisitely beautiful. So I want you to be thinking not only about beauty that you see that, yes, for you, obvious beauty, but where can you see beauty? In what can you see beauty that might not necessarily be seen by the naked eye, let's say? Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said, God's beautiful universe is all about us, only awaiting our acknowledgement of its presence. So this idea that beauty is transformative is true if we are seeing it and recognizing and feeling it and appreciating that beauty. Otherwise, we miss it, and it doesn't have the transformative power in us. I love these words from Ernest Holmes. He's now speaking of the obvious beauty, but it's really powerful words. He wrote, this is in his book, Richer Living. He said, I believe it was Plato who said that God is love and truth and beauty. It has always seemed wonderful to me that one of the world's greatest thinkers should have included beauty as a necessary part of the divine nature. How evident this beauty is everywhere we look. How wonderful is the landscape, the sunset, or the color of the desert at dawn. How beautiful is the daffodil in its sweet simplicity. And what majestic beauty and strength in the mountains and in the waves. Everything is rooted in beauty. Beauty is harmony and right proportion. It is symmetry and charm and grace and loveliness. Surely we should identify ourselves with this terrific beauty that pours its warmth and color over everything and seems to be at the very root of our being. The spiritual truth is that beauty is at the very root of our being. And our challenge, if you will, our call to a higher level of expression is to find beauty when it isn't apparent. I want to give you two examples, both true, both the same person, who saw that, who saw beauty where it wasn't apparent. And that is the most beloved, now saint, Teresa, Mother Teresa, when she walked this earth plane. She saw beauty where most people probably wouldn't have seen it. So as you probably know, she lived in Calcutta, in India, and had many human service. She started many human service organizations, orphanages, hospitals, and her mission was to serve those who no one else would serve, to love and comfort those who were rejected by everyone else, to be a presence of God for those who felt perhaps abandoned by God. That was her mission in life, which she achieved most exquisitely. And there's a story, Greg Braden tells it in his book. The first story I want to tell you, he tells this other one I have just heard of her, in that she would walk through the streets of Calcutta. And those of us who live in this Western world don't have any idea, if you haven't been to India, which I have not, but the level of poverty and is just beyond our comprehension. And streets that are just strewn with garbage and carcasses, and it's difficult for those of us with the perspective of things being neat and clean to experience. I have many, many colleagues and friends who have traveled to India and say that it is a life-transforming experience, not despite all that, but because of that. So here's Mother Teresa walking through streets like that all the time. And there's a story that is told of her that one day she came upon a pile of cow manure. But out of that pile of cow manure popped a little daisy. And in that daisy, she saw the beauty of life right there. In the middle of a not very beautiful situation, she saw the beauty of life. The story that I have heard told of her many, many times is that when she was embracing a leper in her arms, someone who was an untouchable, according to most people, she would hold them, sometimes holding them as they took their last breath on this earth. She would hold them and she would look into their face. And she said that I saw in them the face of my beloved Jesus. And she saw the beauty of her beloved Christ in the face of that dying leper. That, my friend, is finding beauty where it's not quite as obvious. So I want to invite you now to share with me, just for a couple of minutes, share with me where you see beauty that's obvious. One of mine, just as an example, where I see beauty that is obvious, and it's my favorite, almost my favorite place to be. Well, any place next to Lonnie is my favorite place to be. But assuming I have him with me, my favorite place to be is sitting on the bow of a boat, preferably a catamaran, on one of they have, what are they called, captain's chairs out on the edges of the pontoons, in the Caribbean Ocean. That for me is like the most beautiful place on this planet, that with that turquoise blue ocean, that brilliant blue sky, and the white sandy beaches with tropical flowers. Oh my gosh, to me, that's beauty. What is beauty for you? Where do you see beauty? A newborn baby, lovely. Terry. Muir Woods in California. Thank you. Yes. Your grandchildren smile. Terry. That's what you were going to say. Okay, good. Charles, not Charles. That's not Charles' hand. That's Bev's hand. Yes, Bev. The desert. Thank you, Bill.
Storm clouds.
Storm clouds. Nice. Yes, D. Yeah. Superstition Mountains, right at sunset or sunrise when they glow. Yep. Yeah. Music, I like it. Yes. Rick.
One of my favorite experiences was in Paris, next to the Pompidou Center. There's a fountain there that's really half as big as this church, and all the fountains spit water, but they're all askew. They all just go in different directions. And it's so fun and playful, and everyone's enjoying it.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Great idea. And I didn't hear it out of the band pit, but somebody said music already. But I know after first service, Ed said to me, you want to talk about beauty? It's being in the middle of what you guys are doing here, right there, right? That's a beautiful experience. And thank you for letting us have it with you. So, yeah, those are obvious places we see beauty, right? I mean, it's easy to see beauty there. It's so easy to see it and to see God right there. I mean, I see God in that blue ocean. You see God in the smile of your grandchildren. You see God playing in that water that seems to have no rhythm or rhyme, but it actually does. We hear God in that music. It's so easy to see that. Where is a place? Who can tell me a place where you have seen beauty where it might not be quite so evident? Sue?
The cemetery.
The cemetery. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. What else? Where else? Yes. In South Africa. Thank you. Thank you. Did I see? Yes. Mom in hospice care. Thank you. Ooh, sweet. Thank you. Deep beauty in those places. Yeah, Charles. Visiting someone in the hospital, holding their hand at a time of challenge. Yes, yeah. In a homeless shelter. Thank you. Yes, Bill.
I just went through a class with a man who had lost both arms in a bomb explosion in South Africa, and he decided that the best thing he could do and love the world that he lived in was to continue to teach.
Beauty. Did you all hear that? Were you able to hear that? He just went through a class with a man who had lost both arms in a bomb explosion, but decided that the best way he could continue to live and give back to life was to teach. So thank you, Bill. Beautiful, beautiful, excellent ideas. That it's really those moments when you see beauty in those places that you are transformed. And then you have an opportunity to be a transformative presence. Seeing beauty everywhere, yes. But when we see it in those challenging places, that's where the true power comes from. Greg Braden writes, with no words of explanation, no rationalization, no justification, masters such as Mother Teresa, and I'm going to say all of you, believe that beauty simply exists. It's already here. It's everywhere, and it's always present. Our role is to find that beauty. Life is our opportunity to seek it out and to allow that beauty and to allow ourselves to discover that beauty in all things, from the deepest hurts to the greatest joys, to become the standard to which we hold our lives and ourselves. Again, in the book Meditation, Insights and Inspiration, Amit Ray writes, looking at beauty in this world is the first step to purifying the mind. And of course, it is a pure mind that moves into a powerful place of prayer. So we're going to back up now and look at the first three very briefly, and I'm going to need your help. Looking at the first three modes of prayer, we'll bring 4 in, and then we'll put them all together quickly with 5. So I promised 2 weeks ago, and then forgot last week, that there would be rewards for those of you who participate and play with me. And so today I'm honoring that reward. And and I was surprised by this first service. I'm not surprised now because I got it in first service. But in addition to having in this little dish that I asked for some Kisses, Hershey's Kisses. I asked for those, so I expected to see those. But what I didn't expect to see was someone, my beloved husband, being supportive of myself and all of our staff, and probably some of you who are maybe wanting to not eat chocolate and not eat sugar right now, and just be really be mindful of this body temple. So, in addition to having kisses, I also have up here little cherry tomatoes. Now, the thing is, tossing cherry tomatoes No, not a good idea. And besides, usually when tomatoes are tossed, it's coming this way, right? Right? And we don't want that for sure. So I will not toss a cherry tomato to anyone. But if you would prefer a cherry tomato over a little piece of chocolate, then Fran will run it to you. She might also run you the candy because my aim has been really off lately. So here's the deal. This is what I want, and we're going to do this really briefly, but this is what I want us to do. Is there someone who can tell me two things? One, what is the first secret of the lost mode of prayer? What is it? And how have you applied it in the last month since we've talked about it? Whoa, I know that makes it even harder, doesn't it? Yes. What is it and how have you applied it? Feeling is the prayer. You got it. Perfect. Did you hear that? Her roommate's cat went missing, and so she prayed the cat. Remember that? Didn't pray for the cat to come home. She prayed the cat home. And it returned? Beautiful. Which would you like? Oh, yes, she's all over chocolate. Yes. And there it is. Nice. Give her a hand. Beautiful. Feeling is the prayer. That is number one. Praying as if it is already done. What is secret number two? How have you applied it? Terry. My words, yes.
I felt some pain through a student, and I just went, it's okay, and saw that it was his pain coming out towards me, not on purpose.
Got it. Got it. And found the wisdom of unconditional love there. Your choice? Yeah! What is the third secret of the lost mode? Yes, Tim, was that your hand or you just want chocolate? Okay. Yeah, I know, you do want a throne, right. It was you who asked for it. Okay, what's the third mode and how did you use it?
Blessing, and whenever I came upon a challenge and good things, to remember to give a blessing to it and myself as it was happening to bring beauty and understanding into the situation.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, you ready? Yeah, please, Doc, right there. Mm-hmm. Oh. Here it is. Here, Tim, try it again. Oh, man. All right, we got it, I think. Yes! Oh, I thought that went straight down her dress. Oh, it didn't. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm so glad. Tim's like, I'm not touching it if it did. All right. So the third, we're wild, by the way, in this church. If you're new today, we're just a little wild. That's what we do. The third idea is blessing. Yeah, welcome to CLF. Blessing is the release. This is the precise wording. Blessing is the release. It creates a space. Remember that in-between space we talked about last week? That space before something is ended, but before a new has begun, that there's this open, neutral place where God's law is ready to create anything. There's infinite possibility there. And because feeling is the prayer, if we bring hurt, upset, resentment into that space, we then create more situations where we get to have hurt and resentment. Blessing a situation, and last week we applied it very specifically to politicians, right, and to our presidential election. That was our focus last week. But it could apply to anything. When we bless first, we create that open space. We go to that field that Rumi speaks of that is beyond my idea of right doing and wrongdoing. Remember? Beyond the ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field. I will meet you there, he said. Blessing takes us to that field. So then we can have our powerful, powerful prayer to create that which we desire. So that's secret number 3. Secret number 4. Come on. It is? Is? Thank you. Beauty is transformative, and finding beauty in those moments that don't appear that beautiful is really transformative. So we take all of those 4 because they all relate. They all combine and really kind of come back to the first one. Secret 5 really takes us back to 1, but in a very personal way. Secret 5 simply is this: create your own prayers. Create your own meaningful, deep, and powerful communion with God. One of the things Greg Braden told us in his workshop was that before the word prayer became a word, the word that was used to describe what was done, that is now called prayer, was communion. So prayer really is communion. Ernest Holmes, in the quote I read earlier, is communion with God is prayer. So commune with God in the way that works for you, in words that can bring feelings that work for you. Now, yes, in Science of Mind, we teach an amazingly powerful way to pray. It's called spiritual mind treatment, and it's a beautiful way to pray. And it really brings in, especially the idea of feeling as if it's already done. Our treatment does that. For me, this idea of create your own prayer has been, for the last 25 years, learning and studying and practicing and deepening into my ability to go to treatment instantly without any care, concern, worry, thought about what am I going to say? Am I saying it right? Am I doing it right? To have it so ingrained in me that I know those steps, that they can just pop out of me or in me in any moment, that God is all there is. I'm one with God. I accept my good. Thank you. And so it is. Boom, there it was, by the way. That was a 5-step prayer. That, for me, is create my own prayer, honing my ability to go to treatment instantly. And Ernest Holmes said, we in Science Mind, believe in any sincere form of prayer. There is no right way or wrong way to pray. So any sincere form of prayer is a powerful prayer. I want to conclude this morning with an example of a powerful prayer. Not in our tradition. It's in a completely different tradition, and yet an extremely powerful prayer and an example of the power of this prayer. And if you've been around CLF for a while, you may recognize a last name that is in the video that you're going to see. And I will explain that at the end. So I just want to give you a heads up so when you hear it, you don't go off wondering. Yes, it is a name that you recognize, and yes, there is a relationship. But for now, just watch this video that really is about creating your own prayer, whatever it is, and the power of it when we apply it.
It was during the Iraq War in 2003. Jordan Schwartz was sitting on the top of his Humvee in gunner's position, patrolling a neighborhood next to the Syrian-Iraqi border. They were driving through a marketplace that was usually teeming with people. But on this particular Friday morning, it was extremely quiet. Jordan felt this impending doom, like something really bad was about to happen.
We were getting attacked quite often. The attacks were becoming more bold. There was ambushes, there was mortars every day. It was just getting very intense. Every day around their prayer time, the mosque would blare and then we'd start getting shot at.
He was worried about the safety of his unit and his battle buddies, and he wanted to pray that they all make it back home safely. But with no connection to his heritage, he didn't know what to say or how to pray. The only thing he remembered were 6 words his babysitter taught him back when he was just 7 years old.
I was born in Dallas, grew up in a secular home. We moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico when I was 7. Our family was close with the Jesmers, Rivka and her mom, and JJ, or Yaakov, was my best friend. And Rivka would babysit for us.
I ended up putting them to bed, and I thought maybe I could teach them the Shema, and that would help them calm down and go to sleep nicely and be an easy transition for them from the fun day that we had into feeling calm and protected before they went to bed.
I remember asking her why, what am I saying this for? And she told me that it was a prayer of protection.
It is our declaration of our belief in God being almighty and powerful, and that He is really the only force that has any power in this world.
Fast forward, my time in Iraq, as we're rolling through the city, I start to feel like something was wrong. Something was about to happen. And I remember what Rivka told me. I said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And as I'm leaning in to warn my guys about it, boom! A huge bomb blows up right in front of the Humvee, put some shrapnel in my arm, ruptured my eardrum, gave me a concussion. Had I been standing straight up, the angle of the shrapnel should have gone into my eye. I should have been killed. I knew it was because I said the Shema that I survived.
A short while later, Jordan was back at the base, and he was working on one of the tanks in the motor pool.
All of a sudden, this tall chaplain shows up, and he says, "Hey, are you Schwartz?" And he hands me this yarmulke and the sitter that was Army issued, and he said, "Hey, I found this in the chaplain's box. I thought you might want it." As soon as he handed it to me, I looked up and I was like, okay, I'm listening.
Right then he decided that when he returns from the army, he's going to travel to Israel to explore his heritage.
There was a lot of situations where we had very close calls, and I think my faith, I think me saying the Shema, whatever path I'm on, Hashem has guided me.
He ended up enrolling in a yeshiva. And as he walked into the yeshiva's building, he notices a man who looked familiar.
I'm walking into the base measures and he's walking out, and we bumped into each other. And instantly we recognized each other. I was like, JJ. He's like, Jordan.
It was Yaakov Jesmer, the babysitter's brother. He was going to be his Rebbe at the yeshiva.
We just sparked up a friendship just like it had never disappeared. And then we started studying Chavetz Chaim.
In a million years, nobody could have predicted the far-reaching consequences a young babysitter's words would have on a 7-year-old child.
We do something that affects another person, and we have no idea how and when and in what way that seed will sprout.
Yes. The relationship there is that Rivka and JJ are Laura Jesmer, our beautiful spiritual life coach who was here in first service, her half-brother and sister. So yes, there's absolutely a relationship there. Isn't that a beautiful, powerful story? So my prayer, my hope, is that we've planted some seeds this month in you. Seeds to move into your prayer work in a deeper way. Seeds to commune with the divine in different ways. Feeling that prayer, finding wisdom in the pain, seeing the beauty even when it's not evident, blessing those events, people, things that, you may be in judgment about, and then living your prayer, whatever it is. That is my hope. That is my prayer. That has happened for us this month. And I want to anchor it all by doing a prayer. But I really want this one to be a prayer of feeling, and so there are going to be pieces of it, parts of it where I'm quiet and allow you to just be in the feeling of it. And I am going to do our beautiful spiritual mind treatment, a 5-step prayer. And in the first step of this treatment, we know that there is one power and one presence, one energy, one life force that we call God. But no matter what words we put on it, no matter what phrases or terms we use for this power and presence, we can never even begin to scratch the surface of describing what this presence is. And the words that we use, while they pale in comparison to what God really is, the words aren't important. It's how do we feel. And so just for a moment, I invite you into a feeling of the presence of God everywhere around you. Feel the energy of life here in this room. And because the energy of life is in this room, because the presence of God is everywhere, then it must be in and as each and every one of us. It must be who I am. It must be who each of us is. And while we can talk about that until we're blue in the face, what matters is that we feel it and recognize it to be true. So just for a moment, as I am quiet, I invite you into a feeling that you are in fact one with, or I even like the word of better than with, one of God. A physical, human manifestation of that which is infinite and unnameable. Feel that for just a moment. And then to prepare us to plant our word, our feelings into that fertile soil that is the law, to prepare us for that, we're going to purify, to quote Amit Ray in his beautiful book, Meditation, purify our mind by recognizing beauty everywhere, by sending right now blessings, particularly and in this moment, to any one or event or thing where we have had judgment. Just send blessings right now, meaning seeing the God in them. And for absolutely right in this moment, recognizing that even in past pain that you may have had, there is wisdom. So we just move into that space right now, preparing ourselves to plant our word, our feeling into the fertile, neutral law that only says yes, with a pure heart and mind. And so coming from that place of wisdom and blessing and beauty, I now speak my word. I speak it on my behalf and on the behalf of everyone in this room and everyone listening online, everyone who listens to this after the fact. I speak my word, and as I do, I activate that perfect law, which now says yes. And I speak my word, but I'm not going to say any words because I'm going to invite each of us into a place of feeling and acceptance of whatever it is that is on your heart right now to experience, be, do, have, manifest, whatever that might be. I invite you to pray it by feeling in this moment, seeing in your mind's eye, feeling in your body and in your heart that it is already done. And as a deeper way to accept that it is already done, we give gratitude and have deep thanks and appreciation. Deep thanks and appreciation, knowing that it is done. And knowing that it is done, we then release and let go. We let God's law do its work, knowing that it does, trusting that it has, and absolutely being open and receptive to the outpicturing of this beautiful prayer. Let us anchor it together by saying, "And so it is." Amen.